Should diesel trucks operating in cold weather states get an exemption from using diesel exhaust fluid? This is a bill being proposed by Alaska Senator Dan Sullivan and Wyoming Senator Cynthia Loomis. The bill is called the Cold Weather Diesel Reliability Act, and it's meant to address the Environmental Protection Agency's rules for emissions. It's asking them to look at this as far as malfunctions that happen when the temperature gets cold. So the malfunctions that can force diesel engines to shut down in extreme cold temperatures. Under the current, what they call the one size fits all EPA regulations, trucks and heavy duty diesel engines or heavy equipment are required to use emission systems that can trigger engine shutdowns with the diesel exhaust fluid when that fluid freezes. It freezes at 12 degrees. And so, even though the engine itself is working normally, the fluid is frozen, and that causes trucks to be broken down on the side of the road or running at lower speeds because they don't have the fluid to keep them operating. And so, what this bill proposes to do is not have those shutdowns due to the diesel exhaust fluid and keep those engines operating even when the fluid is frozen. It's an interesting question of what's going on with those states in the extreme cold. When it happens in Alaska, happens in Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, in those cold weather states. Now, the diesel exhaust fluid has a tank heater built into it. And I've spoken to some people online who say that that tank heater can fail as well. So, this is an interesting question of whether those trucks operating in those states should have that. A person pointed out in this article that if you look at different regulations, for example, the California Air Resource Board, CARB, California has its own set of rules, and the Department of Defense also has an exemption from using diesel exhaust fluid and the emission systems on this equipment due to not having access to ultra low sulfur diesel fuel and diesel exhaust fluid in wartime situations. So they're asking, okay, if the Department of Defense can have it and California Air Resource Board can have its own exemptions, why can't cold weather states have its own exemptions for those trucks operating in those states when the diesel exhaust fluid freezes? It's an interesting bill, interesting questions. Diesel exhaust fluid's been around for going on 14, 15 years. And it's a situation where in those cold weather states, if that diesel, like I said, for diesel exhaust fluid freezes, those trucks are broken down side of the road. Is it a problem with the fluid itself? Does the fluid itself need to be improved? Does the tanks itself need to have better tank heaters? Is that a reliability issue with the equipment? Or is it just, we don't need this stuff at all? Here's a bill that can take that stuff away in cool other states. But then the question is, how do you regulate that? A lot going on here. This interesting bill. So what do you guys think? I don't know. I just find it really interesting.